All right, I had a couple of people ask me about some problems that they were having after performing a repair on the Galaxy S5. Now, I know that this is an older phone, but there are still quite a few of them out there, and I actually like this model for a couple of reasons. One, it has a removable battery, so if you need to upgrade or change out or have a spare battery that you carry along with you, you can just pop it out of the back, pull the back panel off, and it's very easy to get to on the inside of this, which is awesome. It's the last time that Samsung did that. And of course, they also have the infrared blaster built in here at the top, so you can control all of your televisions and anything else that uses IR with that, which is basically done away with after the Galaxy S6. But the main problem that I'm hearing from people is that they are experiencing issues with the volume control buttons and the power button after they do a charge port repair. And most likely this is going to have to do with these little springs here on this side. You'll see 3 and 2 more here, and I'll show you up close here in just a second what those do. But if you take a look at it, these 2 parts right here are going to make contact with these little squares. And then if we moved it over to this side, same thing happens on the volume controls. You actually have 3 little contacts here that match up with those. And the way that these work is they're kind of a springy mechanism, so that when they make contact with something, let's see, it's kind of hard to do this behind the camera, but if you can see that, this thing is actually going to move up and down as I push on it. And 2 things can happen with these. One, they can get pushed down too far, and then they kind of get stuck, like they bend into place. And if they do that, of course, they're not going to stick out far enough to make contact with these little points over here. And then the other thing that happens is that they become misaligned, because for some reason, when this thing gets put back together, they tend to put a little stress, because you can see there's kind of a cutout here, opening for that. And long story short, what you end up with is one of these things kind of being bent over to the side. And I'm going to go ahead and bend one here to show you that they are relatively strong and resilient, but you have to be careful with these because they are made out of metal. And of course, if you bend them back and forth too much, they experience something called metal fatigue, and they'll just snap right off. And when that happens, you have a more serious problem, because then you're going to have to find a replacement to solder onto one of these points. So you don't want to bend these any more than you have to, or very often, and you want to be very careful about it. But if you take a look here, I'll just push this one in and hopefully not break it off. Actually, let's go with this one. And you can see they get kind of bent off to the side real easily. And if that's what you're seeing on the inside of your phone, then more than likely it's not going to line up with these little squares. And if it doesn't, then of course you will have no functionality of your home button and possibly the volume button. So again, I'm going to bend this back and hopefully it won't snap off. Like I said, it can happen. So this isn't 100% fail proof, but if you're very careful and you don't push it too far, they do have a small amount of flexibility, and you can probably even do this just as easily with your finger, which is what I'm going to try here, or fingernail. And if you straighten it out so that it's back in the center, you see mine's kind of stuck there. I have to lift it up a little bit. Okay, so I've got it back over almost dead center, and you can see it's sticking up way higher than it needs to, but that's okay because it's going to push back down once it gets inside. The main thing is that we want to have these aligned straight up and down. And then of course over here, there's one that kind of goes over to the side, straight up and down on these also. And if those are out of alignment and all, that would most likely be what is causing the problems with your volume and your power button controls. Now, again, please be really careful bending these back. They can snap off, and if they do, then you have a whole new problem, because again, that button, it's going to be a little tricky. And in fact, I might just do a separate video and desolder one of these to see how easy they are to replace. I don't think they would be that difficult, but you would need a soldering iron, or you'd have to find something else to take the place of that piece on the inside. So hopefully that helped you get your phone working again properly. And of course, if you have questions or comments or something else that you would like to see explained, I'll do my best to make a video if I have that phone on hand at my first opportunity. Thank you very much for watching. Remember to hit the subscribe button, share this with your friends, check out my channel, and I will see you next time.